I don't like
It's- And I haven't
I'd like to call to order the Town of McCandless meeting of Town Council, April 13th, 2026. Will everyone please rise and move your hands for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As always, we'd like to begin the meeting this evening with a few announcements. First one, join us for our annual Town of McCandless Cleanup Day on the morning of April 25th, 2026, beginning at 8:30 a.m. in the Public Works Garage. Sign up on our website and help us keep McCandless beautiful. On that same evening, April 25th, 2026, the Northland Public Library will host their 2026 Garden Gala, Phantom of the Library. Tickets are still available on the library website. Library Week is April 19th through 25th, 2026. We encourage all residents to visit Northland Public Library, explore its resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps our community find joy. The Town of McCandless is seeking applicants to fill a board vacancy for the Environmental Advisory Committee. Please visit our website for more information. Applications are due no later than April 20th, 2026. The Town of McCandless Police Department is seeking applicants for the position of police officer. Applications must be submitted and received by the police department no later than April 24th, 2026 at 4:00 p.m. Please see our website for more information. The Town Council of the Town of McCandless and town staff will be participating in a strategic planning meeting on Friday, April 17th, 2026. Is there any additional announcements from council?
Yes, there are. The McCandless Business Alliance. Our next meeting will be Monday, April 20th. For those of you that don't know, the McCandless Business Alliance is an arm of the Pittsburgh North Chamber of Commerce that we've developed with our businesses here in McCandless. That meeting will be Monday morning, 9 a.m., April 20th at the St. Alexis Cafeteria on Old Perry Highway. The second announcement would be we are starting summer recreation again. July 6th through the 10th, summer recreation will be offered to children grades K through 6 at Ingomar Elementary. Please stay tuned for the information that will be on our website shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Any further announcements from council? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to agenda item number 4, public hearing. Corbell, if you'd like to start.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the public hearing regarding tentatively identified ordinance number 1566. An ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of McCandless, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the establishment of a council-managed district commission and appointment of its members for the purpose of developing a report and recommendation for the revisions of the town's council-managed districts in compliance with Article 1, Section 103 of the town charter. This has been adequately advertised, etc. And this is the town picking up the redistricting efforts that were started that ran into a roadblock from the county and the state in order to try to push this over the finish line. And in order to do so, we have to reestablish the commission. And in the ordinance, you'll see that the commission members will be Mr. Jason Singer, Mr. Paul Heckman, and President of Town Council, Clune. With that, are there any public comments on the ordinance to create the redistricting committee? Hearing none, any comments or questions from council?
This was almost done already, right?
Correct.
And then we sent it to the county sent it to the state, and something got screwed up between those two, right? Okay.
We need to
We just need to reestablish it. Okay.
get to come forward and take your name, yes?
My name's Chris.
I'm in the microphone.
And what's the purpose of the redistricting?
Ma'am, your last name, please?
You know, when I was here the last time, a guy didn't give his last name or where he lived, so I think I deserve the same privilege. Okay, I live up the hill over there. That's what he said, but he lived up that hill. So, and you guys didn't call him on it. What's the purpose of the redistricting?
Yeah.
My name's Chris.
Now, we are only permitted to allow,
Last name Zotter.
sorry,
Zotter.
Thank you.
What's the purpose of the redistricting?
to look at the council districts, the wards.
To draw different lines?
It's already been completed, but there are only a couple issues that were flagged by the state that need to be addressed.
Okay, thank you.
So, yeah. With that, unless there's an objection, I will close the public hearing on tentatively identified warrants. Okay. We have another. I'll also here call to order the second public hearing of the evening regarding tentatively identified ordinance 1567. This is an ordinance of the town council of the town of McCandless regarding amending Article 1305 signs as amended of the Town Code of Ordinances to revise the regulations for on-premises signs, off-premises signs, temporary signs, and digital display sign message duration. Mr. Innes, did you have something you wanted to set the table with?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you, council. At the February Planning Commission and noted in a memo to Mr. Schwend, the Planning Commission did make a recommendation for now proposed ordinance number 1567 to make an amendment to the sign ordinance. I'm happy to discuss any questions that we'd have or go over the ordinance. But I can kind of, if you like, I could talk through what some of the
Why don't you talk through the
Sure.
changes?
So a few of the changes from the ordinance are, they actually align with the upcoming zoning ordinance review that will be conducted in 2026. So there are a few cleanup notes from the 2023 update. And then as you go through, there's edits to the temporary sign regulations for the maximum sign area for temporary signs in residential districts being a maximum of 20 square feet. Also a code line that establishes temporary real estate construction and development signs and has a clause which requires removal of those signs as the construction or completion of the sales occurs. Additionally, there are a few different ordinance updates to the digital display signs. There is an adjustment to the message duration from 20 seconds to 8 seconds. There is a removal of a clause for the addition of digital display to a non-conforming sign, as that is a redundant clause. And there's a on-premise sign advertising places of business termination clause that requires businesses that close to remove their sign within 60 days. And there are a few updates to 1305.150 of off-premise sign regulations, which has a clause for non-residential zoning districts. Off-premise digital display signs are only permitted on parcels that directly abut McKnight Road and are subject to the following requirements. And of the following requirements, the adjustments are the removal of the maximum length within the off-premise sign regulation as this was actually discussed at the planning commission meeting. There's a few comments of what maximum length was. And it was recommended by the planning commission to remove that clause as in the definitions of the town code, maximum length is not defined. And upon doing research into neighboring municipalities and sign code, it doesn't seem that maximum length is a typically put into a clause. And the sign, typically sign area and sign height are the two requirements that would control, how big a sign could be per the zoning. And then additionally, for digital display signs, they are Permitted provided that the sign is not located within 400 feet of a residential zoning district. And that's all listed within 1305.150 under non-residential zoning districts. So that's kind of everything that's within the ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions or go over anything.
Matt, in the code, as it was before this review, signage that was back to back counted as one sign. Is that still the situation?
Like, you're talking about like a wall, like a face sign, like a monument sign that had two faces, that's
Yeah.
still one sign.
Okay.
Yeah, the structure.
But correct me if I'm wrong, if they are off a little bit, that's considered to be two signs, right? Directly back to back.
There's a couple different types of signs. None of this ordinance adjusts anything with the sign types specifically, but there's like a tri-board sign that has limitations within the code.
Thank you.
With that, we will go to the public and see if there are any comments or questions. Anybody in the public have any comments or questions? Mr. Harris?
Don Harrison, we drive. One of the things I did not hear you mention, and I think we need to look into is, if you were to ban political signs, that would be awesome. I know that's not gonna happen, but the number of political signs after election day that still reside within the municipality is ridiculous. So is there a way of you either fining or penalizing the person who puts the signs up? So just for picking on Joe, if Joe left his signs out from election day and there's 10 of them, there should be a fine that goes against him. He should be responsible as a candidate to pick up those signs. And that goes across the board, whether it be local or the state. And then also how early they can also go out. There are some places where you're only allowed to put them out a week before election day, and they got to be down a week after election day. The town would look a lot nicer, a lot cleaner if we actually had something like that in place. Since you have it open now, you have a chance to do that. And I think the general public would appreciate that. Thank you.
And I'll just say generally that there are First Amendment implications with directing a particular regulation towards a type of sign. So if you're talking about temporary signs, which would include baseball signups, spaghetti dinner, Boy Scouts, anything like that, you'd have to treat them all the same. You can't, they have to be content neutral, the regulations. So just to make sure everybody understood that more.
Question, would the 60-day close of business apply? Or if your business is getting elected or your business is having a spaghetti dinner, would that be applied here?
To the temporary sign, yes.
Yeah, but you do have a problem because we have residents here that keep political signs up year round.
And that's
Okay.
on the private property.
Yeah, and that's their right to do so. So,
I'm just trying to understand, because I beg your pardon? Oh, Debbie Cook. My question is, like, a year ago, about this time, I don't remember exactly, we were trying to not have a sign put up at McKnight Road in Cumberland. So I'm not sure what we're talking
that's a
about.
little bit different, Debbie. We're
there-
talking about smaller signs, bigger signs. When we're talking about the revisiting of the code, it's a little bit different than the billboard signs that you were involved in.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
isn't about billboard signs.
Well, the ordinance does address. Yes, but we were specifically just talking about temporary signs, small signs that are in folks' yards or other locations for political candidates or other minor events. The billboards are being addressed in this ordinance as well.
Yeah,
And we.
Yeah, and this was, so when, what you were referencing was the discussion that we had in December regarding the sign ordinance.
okay, sure.
So that was this item was discussed, in multiple public hearings, or sorry, public meetings. Excuse me, and this ordinance, when you're talking about the billboards, it was re-reviewed by the planning commission, the original ordinance that was discussed last year. And so this is just going through the public approval process. So some of the items that we discussed that were about the digital display signs and where they're able to be located are still included in this ordinance. It's just the planning commission reviewed that previous ordinance and had recommendations for adjustment, and now we're going through the process of having a public hearing to propose and review this ordinance.
Okay. So I'm just a little more sensitive to it than probably most because my backyard is McKnight Road. So the thought of a big billboard over there is doesn't appeal to me at all. Like it would be shining right into my addition of my house.
Yeah,
So-
and that's, I asked Matt at the beginning of this to talk about the differences, and it's outside of 400 feet from a residential area.
I have no idea how far I am from that.
Yeah.
But I would think, well, the house that's on Guinevere
Yeah, it's,
is
yeah.
within 400 feet. So we're covered.
we're covered.
All right, got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Lynn Atman, Saratoga Drive. The sign ordinance, I would like just a clarification on what we do in McCandless with the signs on all the land everywhere, not on private property. I just want to know how much we enforce this ordinance. Can anybody answer that? Because
Enforcement officer. Who
Yes.
comes out, and he works on a daily basis to enforce the sign ordinance.
there's a lot of signs that never get taken down, John. They're on the road, they get knocked over. PennDOT land signs, what do you do about that? Do you let PennDOT know? Because this is our town. And if you call PennDOT doesn't do anything about the signs. The signs are a nuisance, they're ugly. They are a mowing issue for people to try to mow around. They become litter on the roads. They fall, they go in the storm source. Already have a drainage problem in this town. What do you do about those signs in our town? Because the same signs stay there, and one breeds another. When one sign shows up, 5 more come.
It's a never ending battle.
So I know, do you fine anybody? Do you call anybody? Because I don't think anybody gets told about, you're not allowed to put signs up on these public roadways.
I can answer that. My code enforcement officer spends a good portion of his week contacting people about signs, pulling signs. I can even say from today, he had 25 signs in the back of his trunk.
Do you find them? Do you tell them? Because the same signs keep showing up. Power washing.
Right, and if they have a sign that they put in there, that's a temporary sign that is longer than 90 days.
But it's
Then they get
allowed on those roads. It's not allowed on public land. It's against the law.
Right, and then we pull if it's on public land, then the sign would get pulled. And then they would be,
They
they'd
can
be-
get pulled a lot, sir. They're there and there
there's a lot
are,
of signs that get placed out.
but I think you have to be a little more strict about it and tell them this is not the way we want our town to look. You have a sign ordinance. Enforce it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comment.
Marcia Caliendo, Abbey Lane, ditto. What she just said, I was coming up to say the same thing. If we have an ordinance, let's enforce it. And, we can't do anything on private property. I don't think anybody, would want that, to happen, but, last time there was a signed ordinance, we were saying, oh, well, it's on McKnight Road, that's a state road, we're not allowed to touch anything on the state road. I think that's bull. I think it's McCandless, and if we have an ordinance, we should be able to take it up. I just hope let's make sure that it's enforceable and that people are penalized who are non-compliant. Thanks.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah. Really got- Being none, unless there is an objection, I'll close the public hearing on proposed ordinance 57.
And now we will move on to public comment on agenda items only. And I'd like to remind everyone to please state your name and make sure you are a resident or taxpayer of McCandless. And reminder that there is a 5-minute limit, and this is for comments only, not questions. So we appreciate what you have to say and love to hear from the public. So if you'd like to make a comment on agenda items only, please step forward to the podium. Okay.
John Harrison, McCandless, Hedwig. Under new business, letter A, we say we're replacing garage doors, or you'd like to replace garage doors. But $146,000 is a lot for garage doors. So could we put a number to that as far as number of garage doors? And the other question is, was that, I know it was put out for bid, did more than one person bid on it? And if they didn't, can we put it out again? Because that seems like a heck of a lot of money for garage doors. That's all I got.
Any further public comment on agenda items at this time? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the approval of minutes. Can we have a motion?
So moved.
Will you state the full date, Mr. Wall?
Yes, I move that we approve the meeting minutes of town council, March 23rd, 2026.
Second.
Mr. Gooden. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Okay, hearing none, motion passes. Now we will move to reports of committees. We will start with the Public Safety Committee. Staff reports, we'll start with Mr. Peacock, please.
Thank you. Good evening, council. Just a few things I'll touch on from my monthly report. I usually load it up with training. Suffice it to say, this month officers continue their annual mandatory in-service updates. Myself, one of my lieutenants, and the manager also attended a training that I thought was very valuable in the month of March. And PELRAS is what the name of it. It's an employee labor relation training, and I thought was very valuable. Officer Davis and his partner continued their monthly training. The K-9 team also had 5 deployments last month, either in McCandless or an adjacent community that requested him. Social worker Jenny Fry in the month of March had 24 contacts with individuals who either received or accepted referrals for service, support, or information. She also attended an outreach meeting for adults and adolescents in the Wexford area. She also attended a training relating to understanding addiction, trauma, the impact of stigma, prevention, and intervention to addiction and connection treatment. That was a mouthful, but Jenny continues to do good things in that role as our social worker. Also in March, our North Hills DUI task force, McCandless officers participated in a DUI detail. We do so anytime that's offered. 156 vehicles were stopped, various traffic violations. 3 individuals were administered field sobriety tests. Of those, 1 was arrested for DUI. 31 citations and 151 warnings were issued for various vehicle code violations. Also, part of that North Hills DUI task force on March 30th, our officers conducted an aggressive driving detail exclusively in McCandless. Officers wrote 23 citations for various vehicle code violations, and we did arrest 1 for DUI during that detail. As President Clunin mentioned earlier, the police department is currently advertising for full-time police officers. So if you know anyone in the line of work, looking to maybe move up to a full-time department or something to that effect, or a young individual that might be in the police academy, please encourage them to look at the town of McCandless and our Facebook page. Deadline is April 24th. We need good people to protect this community. Finally, in the month of March, the police department received 26 calls relating to white-tailed deer. Big Daddy Wildlife Removal picked up 6 carcasses. Does anybody have any questions on council?
I really like the event you had with the NA baseball team. How was that received by the young men on the team?
Very well, ma'am. I believe that it's, gives them an opportunity to connect with their local first responders, obviously. Maybe we can even use it as a recruiting tool, for down the road. And it's just a good opportunity to engage them. Last year, I believe we gave them a taser demonstration. The other day, it was, Leroy was the dog of the hour. They had one of, they had someone wearing a suit out here in the baseball field, and, the dog latched onto him and, did some other things where they had some narcotics in a box, and they had multiple boxes in this very room. And of course the dog, nailed the correct box every time. And the baseball team's great.
I thought that was a great outreach into the community. Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am. We've done, I think it's 9 years maybe now.
That's what I
Good times.
And I'd like to compliment Ms. Fry on the report, and I really appreciated seeing the type of calls that she's responding to, as well as who's referring her to those calls. Very helpful. That continues.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
And now we will move on to our fire marshal's report. The wizard.
You got the magic touch. Well, good evening, everybody. So I'll touch on some of the highlights in March. There were 12 fire code inspections, 23 fire marshal calls, 2 fire investigations. One ended up being our first EV car fire. That was at McCandless Crossing, so you guys may have seen that on the news. And as impressive as that fire was, it was a big fireball. The fire department did a really good job on knocking that fire down. So, hats off to them. I had 6 hours of training. There was 1 fire prevention program taught here to 49 kids and adults. Couple of things that I'm working on is the medical evaluation program for our firefighters. It actually wrapped up this past Saturday. So we're done for the year, which is good. And I believe, I think everybody is passed, so we're good to go. Still working with the fire companies on the joint bylaws. Going to the fire calls for the month, just real quick. Fire companies were dispatched to 151 calls for the month, 113 of them being in town, 38 being responses for out of town. And again, our top 3 type of calls are the commercial fire alarms, motor vehicle accidents, and service calls. There is one thing that I do want to add in case you guys are driving down the street and you start seeing on our hydrants, it looks like a new cap on the front of it. That is planned. That's because of our Storts Adapter grant that we had received. Westview Water is starting to take delivery of those, and they're starting to install them. The last count they gave me was they've installed 13 to date, and they're hoping to do that on a weekly basis. So if you see them, it's meant to be there. That's all I got.
Any questions from council or comments?
The training session you did, was that the homeschool group?
For the library, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's an undertapped, I think, group that might not get the education. So that's fantastic that you reached out to them and were able to do that. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
And I enjoyed your McMahon article, and I'm sad you didn't reach out for some modeling shots and tests about foundations. Okay. Next, we will move on to the building permit report for the month of March. Is there anything to add or anything of note, Mr. Swin?
Nothing out of the ordinary. It's permit season.
A lot of decks and fences. I got it. Any questions from council? Okay. Now we'll move on to liaison reports. We'll start with personnel board, Mr. Georgetti.
There's meeting minutes in your packet. You have any questions?
You, any questions from council? Okay. Volunteer firefighter steering committee, did finally meet after our delay from the storms in January. Good session. The minutes are in your packet and, I just want council and everyone to be aware the cost of equipment is not going down anytime soon. So we as a community really need to be thinking about how we're going to support our fighters in this town. And this time I'd like to welcome anyone who would like to make public comment on public safety to please approach the podium. Mr. Harris?
The one thing it was, John Henderson, Hedwig Drive, McCandless. As far as for the fire department and the fire that happened in McCandless Crossing, my understanding is that the apparatus that needed to be used, McCandless fire departments don't have on hand, and they used it from another local municipality to distinguish that fire. And if that is the case, what does McCandless need to do to what's the cost of those? And what do we need to do to get those in the hands of our firemen so that we can actually be there on site faster?
Sure, I can comment if you want.
Yep.
There is a special nozzle, or special, say, tools that assist us with trying to extinguish an EV car fire, right? The battery packs are underneath, they're very hard to get to. The cars are typically low riding. So that's a big challenge. One of the neighboring fire companies had a special type nozzle that is vertical so that it can spray upwards to help cool those battery packs. We are actually working on right now on securing at least one of those nozzles. So yeah, we're fully aware of it now.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Any further public comment on public safety? Hearing none, we'll move on to reports of facilities management. I think we have Mr. Anuzzi here on Zoom, if you'd like to share anything.
Yeah, just a couple highlights for Public Works for the month of March. We assisted with the conduit for the new generator. We also finished up down at Wall Park, the culverts and Gabion baskets down there. We finished asphalting the area down there. We also continued on our basin program for the paving project, and also did some painting and work in the police department. Any questions?
Any questions from council?
No.
Thank you very much. It looks like your crew is very busy right now. I've seen them out on the roads and things like that. It's good to see the weather raging get worked on. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now move on to liaison reports. Mr. Hickerson, Environmental Advisory Committee.
Thank you. We had our meeting last Wednesday, and nothing out of the ordinary. Big thing is we're very excited for the April 25th cleanup. That will be at 8:30 a.m. at the EBW building.
And how late can people still sign up for that?
I believe the sign-in window is still open right now, but I'm not sure. I can get back to you on that.
I know they sign throughs. If you are interested in participating in this, it's a really nice event to see everybody and see your community out there. Picking up the trash on a sometimes chilly April morning. Any questions for Mr. Hickerson about the EAC? Okay. Mr. Babbitt, the Ad Hoc Stormwater Management Committee.
We will be meeting at the end of this month, and so I will have an update at the early May town council meeting.
Very good. Thank you. And now, time for public comment on facilities management. If anybody would like to approach the podium. Seeing none, we will move on to the reports of the Services Committee and liaison reports. Mr. Arlo, McCandless Sanitary Authority.
Yep, I attended the March 5th meeting. We just got those minutes sent over to us by email this morning. I will say that back last month, we had those windstorms. They had several power outages at 8 different lift stations and didn't miss a beat. So kudos to them. We kept the sludge moving. Unlike Alcoasand had a discharge into the Ohio River. So we certainly want to applaud their efforts. Those generators were running from anywhere from a day to 3.5 days. So
Thank you.
Yep.
We're fortunate to have a authority that can handle that kind of situation. McCandless Franklin Park and Business Authority, Mr. Georgette.
Those meeting minutes in your packet, and I'll quickly add that last month we had the annual year in review reception. Chief Dell just went over how the past year went, and they're doing a terrific job.
And Mr. Bowich, Northland Public Library.
I was under the weather, and so Councilman Hickerson attended in my stead.
Anything to share?
Not really. They were very appreciative for the donations by the Industrial Development Authority for the chairs and couches.
Great. And I know the new director there, Miss DeKnight, she's been enjoying her job. She's about a month in now, not even quite.
Yeah, she has. I didn't get a chance to meet her like one-on-one, but she seemed to be enjoying it, and she said she was enjoying it.
Looking forward to the gala coming up here. Any public comment on the Services Committee?
Rita Martin, Grubbs Road, and Mr. Giorgetti. Is it true what I read in the paper about our first responders taking care of seniors who may be leaving the hospital with some and need the extra help at home when they go home with them, take them home, and that is amazing. Please thank all of them because it's much needed. People who are caregivers really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any further comment on the Services Committee? Hearing none. Agenda item number 9, old business. There is no old business. Moving on to number 10, new business. We have a motion and then we can discuss.
I make the motion to approve the base bid to overhead garage door in the total amount of $146,040 for the full replacement of the Public Works and Police Department garage doors in a proposal dated April 7, 2026 under CoStar's contract number 008-E23-1109.
We have a motion. We have a second, please.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Schwinn, would you like to share any information on?
Sure, the garage doors in these buildings need replaced. They're significantly deteriorating from rust. This is for 17 garage doors, most of them ranging in size of 12 foot 4 inches by 14 feet. So very large garage door down to a typical 10 by 10. 4 different vendors bid on this, ranging in price from $146,040 to $208,250. Overhead garage door was the low bidder. CoStar's approved vendor, and we recommend approving that.
Thank you. Any further questions for Mr. Schwinn from council? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Okay, motion carries 7-0. Next one, action concerning resolution 2026-07. Would someone like to make a motion?
I can make it. Motion to approve tentatively identified resolution 2026-07, a resolution of the town of McCandless, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania for Act 537 Sewage Facilities Plan Special Study reference in the town engineer's letter dated on April 7th, 2026.
And we have a second.
Second.
Okay. Anything you can share for this, Mr. Schwein?
Sure. Briefly, the purpose for this Act 537 Sewage Facilities Plan Special Study is to convert Longview number 2 wastewater treatment plant into a pump station.
Changes have happened over time through NPDES permit regulations about the amount of copper that can be discharged into a waterway. Longview number 2 was not able to keep up with that as a treatment plant, I don't believe, but it will be much more effective as a pump station to go to the large renovated sites. In order to be able to do that, they have to have this 537 plan approved, and we have to have a resolution to support it. We do have Sam on the line, I believe. This is the engineer from KLH, if he needs to answer any questions, and also Tim, but that's the gist of it. This is mostly falls on them, but it does require municipal approval.
And this is mainly mitigation really for the copper and zinc limits, discharge limits, NPDES.
This is an improvement.
And because this plant is in McCandless, are we the only municipality that needs to approve?
I believe it's Ross.
Or it's Ross, so the other municipalities who are serviced by MTSA will also need to approve this.
That's correct.
Thank you. Mr. Gibson is on. Any other questions for Mr. Gibson from council?
This was reviewed by the town engineer also with a letter dated April 7th with no additional comments.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. If there's no further questions, all in favor of approving resolution 2026-07, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda, action concerning resolution 2026-08. Someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll make this one. Motion to approve tentatively identified resolution 2026-08 for the acquisition and subsequent disposition of a vacant property known as lot and block number 714-C-140 in accordance with the requirements of the Allegheny County Vacant Property Recovery Program.
The motion to the second.
Second.
Okay, we discussed this at our last council meeting. Any further information that needs to be shared? Okay, all in favor?
Wait a minute, this is part of Pontiac.
This is Jason. And we'll soon be, help that park rep. Yeah. Provide parking. Okay. All in favor of approving resolution 2026-08, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Now, at this time, we will open up the floor to public comment on non-agenda with reminder that your name, please, your citizen or taxpayer McCandless. And reminder that it's 5 minutes and the comment only. Thank you. If anybody would like to start. Nina?
Hi, my name's Kathy Neidhart and I live on Guinevere Drive. Not even 2 months ago, we had a packed house here as council voted 5-2 in favor of the ordinance, which prohibits McCandless police from working with ICE in the arrest and or detention of illegal or undocumented immigrants. Recently, an undocumented immigrant was arrested for raping at least one woman at the Ridgecrest Senior Living Facility over in McCandless Crossing. From what I understand, he was arrested by a McCandless police officer. However, since there is no cooperation between ICE and our police force, he was removed and deported by ICE before criminal charges could be filed against him. You may think, well, he's gone, so what's the difference? The difference is that no charges were ever filed and he has no criminal record here as far as these sexual assaults are concerned. Was justice served to the victims here? Hardly. Nathan, Nick, Jack, how would you feel if that was your mother, your wife, your girlfriend, your grandma, the females, any of us? How would we feel? So to answer my own question, justice was not served. Yes, the perpetrator was deported and he has no record of this incident, but the victims are scarred for life. And kudos to the McCandless police officer who made the arrest in the first place. From what I understand, he was a Mexican American whose family came to our country the right way. So yes, it can be done. I find it a bit ironic that our neighboring communities of Franklin Park and Hampton Township want no parts of this ordinance. Looking back, why did McCandless initially attempt to push this through so quietly and then so quickly? Feel-good legislation is what it was.
I hope everyone who voted back in January still feels good about what they did, because a lot of us don't and never will. Please use better judgment in the future. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lynn Atman, Saratoga Drive. I'm a resident here. Was the perpetrator of the alleged sexual assault at the senior care in McCandless Crossing an illegal alien? Yes. If McCandless officers were permitted to communicate with ICE, would the perpetrator have been officially charged with a crime? The follow-up, was the man awaiting deportation officially arranged by a local judge? Was the illegal charged? Seems like the resolution was a really bad idea. We were told that illegals were being ripped out of cars for no reason, yet the man committed a felony by trying to buy a gun. And the man in Oakmont actually had a felony warrant for being deported once and illegally coming back. You passed the resolution, and the only ones that you served were the illegals. You prioritized illegals over the McCandless residents. You have put up brick walls, and you are seeing the ramifications from doing it. Transparency is the word you always use, but it's no point at ad nauseum the way you carry this out. You don't live it. You nullify it. You have not let McCandless police charge this monster at Ridgecrest because ICE came. You, your council, you have closed your eyes. Your heads are down and you don't look us in the face. When I was here, some of you had your eyes closed. You were looking down. You didn't look us. You talk transparency, Nick, Trish, Nathan, Jack, and Lorene. But you do not live it because you would have not considered your town. And you, if you would have listened to a lot of us that were here when they contacted you or came in person to the meetings, what motivated you to make a dangerous ruling that has now scarred a girl for life and a victim at the care facility? He got away uncharged at your bad decision making. Thank you.
Laurie Barkowski, Southfield Road. President Clunin, Council. I'm here this evening to speak on behalf of the numerous residents that attended the meetings in February in opposition of Resolution 2026-03. McCandless has always been known as a safe community where people found it a good and safe place to live and relocate. As a result of the unfortunate situation at Ridgecrest Senior Living and Memory Care involving the illegal alien, some are already talking about their moving to McCandless and if it was a good decision. It sure seems there have been consequences to your decision to pass Resolution 2026-03. You've placed more rights on the illegals over the safety of the tax-paying constituents, especially the most vulnerable. Shame on you. So what happens now that this perpetrator has been deported with no record of a rightful assault charges? Or the next illegal, if it happens again, God forbid. When teams work together, everyone on the team wins. For the safety of all of McCandless residents, I would suggest you rescind your vote to implement Resolution 2026-03 before more innocent people are harmed. Let our law enforcement work with all the other agencies, county, state, and federal. Thank you.
Marcia Caliendo. Is it the town's responsibility to ensure that every employee or every person who works in the town of McCandless is documented? I don't think it is. Where's the outrage to Ridgecrest? This man was here illegally. I don't know if he was because we don't know what happened. We know that he was arrested and then ICE came and took him away to Moshannon before he was arraigned. So if ICE would have waited, he would have been arraigned and then he would have been charged and then there would have been a trial. But we don't know what would happen. And the man with the gun sale, those charges have been dropped. So before we feign outcry about the ordinance that you passed, which I still wholeheartedly support, and thank council for passing that ordinance, let's get facts straight. You don't know the facts, so please. Let's find out what happened before you say he should have been arraigned, but they took him. That doesn't mean he was here illegally, because we know ICE has taken people here illegally. No shame. Thank you.
Rita Martin, Gloves Road. I want to say that I think your ordinance was the right thing to do. Allegheny County has that ordinance passed, Plum, Oakmont, Sewickley. There are other communities who feel strongly that what ICE does is not done correctly. And I want to say thank you for that.
Would you like to step up and make a comment, sir?
I'll step up. I just think you
Okay,
guys.
please.
Name, please.
He's not a resident. Not a
Are
resident.
you a resident, sir?
I am.
Okay.
I just think it's,
Please, sir.
my name is Matt Marcinelli, and I think you guys are absurd. It's shocking to me. Once I heard about this decision you all made, I have no idea what planet you're all living on. Yeah, I really don't. I'm a former Marine Corps officer. I've been all over the world. I have a son who's currently serving in the Marine Corps to try to keep this place safe. It's shocking to me that you guys require information here that you don't want to let the local constabulary support ICE. It's ridiculous to me. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
Irene Caliendo. First, please let me say that illegal is not a noun. Your status can be illegal. Your actions can be illegal. Human beings cannot be illegal. Secondly, I did not interrupt you. Secondly, there is no direct or even indirect line between the passage of this ordinance and what happened. There is no relationship. The human was going to do what the human being was going to do. If ICE wanted to deport this person because they had proven that this individual has an illegal status, then that should have been done. That has already been stated. He was removed before arraignment was possible. There is absolutely, I say again, no connection between this actually brave and righteous ordinance. I did not interrupt you. I did not comment when you were up here. Quiet. So
Please, let's give all speakers the respect due.
and I will also say that this council, regardless of how you voted, handled, talk about transparency, the two very council meetings with such graciousness and attentiveness. I thank you all. You have done a stellar job in handling the discussion portion of this episode, of this resolution. And also, it was online. It was published as required by the Sunshine Act. So there was transparency from beginning to end. Thank you.
I think some folks over here would like to speak in public. Welcome you.
Hello, Trish. Hello, council. My name is Robert J. Casey, and I live in McCandless. Talk about transparency. When 5 council members go together and decide to have a petition to add an ordinance, and they don't tell the other 2 council members what they're doing, and then they come in with this document that has 44 typed signatures. There's no written signature on any of your ordinance, any of your petition that you took. And then the other side brings in an ordinance with 3 times as many signatures with addresses that you can verify that they live in McCandless. And you guys say, oh yeah, we got this outcry, all this information, but you don't shed it out. You don't shed the light on it and let the rest of council see and let the rest of the community see. That's probably a violation of your code. Excuse me, Mrs. Caliendo. It's a sunshine violation. And I don't know how you can look at it any other way. Do you have anything you'd like to say about that, Ms. Clunin? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further public comment? Comment. Rita Martin. I don't know. Only one. I don't have time. Okay.
No?
Oh, you're-
Okay, Rita Martin, I just wanted to say that that petition was something that came from citizens outside of you. It had nothing to do with you, because I know I was approached to sign it by somebody that wasn't connected to you guys at all. I didn't sign it because I wasn't ready to do that yet, but it was not a petition that you started. Thank you.
Any further public comment?
Good evening, board members. Bob Crankovic, 1001 Broad Hill Drive. I'd like to thank you for letting me speak here this evening. Pardon me here as I read these names yet again here. Elizabeth Medina, Ariana Volomev, Nikolai Osokin, Dakar Thompson, Nathan Baker, Laken Riley, Fletcher Harris, Skylar Provenza, Ivory Smith, Alex Wise Jr., Katie Abraham, Jocelyn Nungari, Jennifer Ann Morton. The common element between all of these victims is that they were victims of illegal immigrants. This is preventable, and you have the power to stop it. And you have a duty to the citizens of McCandless and taxpayers and every taxpayer here of McCandless Township. I ask you to reconsider and get rid of this ordinance. Thank you.
No further public comments on non-agenda items.
Hold on, please. With a hand in the back.
Sorry, Mr. Green.
John, you don't need to be called on.
I can follow the protocol.
Very formal.
This is the 5th one, John Harrison, Hedwig Drive, McCandless. You know, it's really sad to see that it only took 24 days from the time you pass something to there to be a violation. Those that are heckling in the background, thank you, because you just proved the point. The fact is, there wasn't only one victim. There was multiple victims that this, can't even call him a gentleman, slime ball, hurt. Put it into perspective. If it was your wife, if it was your mother, if it was your sister, if it was your mother, if it was your daughter, put it into perspective. If that would have happened to one of your loved ones, how would you feel? Can you sleep at night knowing that? There's new people on council you ran for a reason. You're falling short. You can make a difference, and I think you need to. So if you can't handle the job, step down from your position and walk away. But if you can handle the job, then make a difference, make the change. Thank you.
Okay, there's nothing further. I don't want to make sure I don't miss anyone in the back row. We have a motion, just so you know, we are going to go to executive session over legal matters. Prior to that, can we have an adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Well, any second?
Second.
All in favor of the adjournment, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.